Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Unacademy, India's largest online learning portal for the preparation of competitive exams. My name is Neelam, and I'm going to be a facilitator and guide for CAT and other management exams. After CAT, we have started discussing exams like SAT, IIFT, and SNAP. And in today's session, I'm going to focus on vocabulary of these exams. Other than these exams, this session will also focus on the ways to build vocabulary as well as different sources that you can use for practicing vocabulary based questions. Alright, so that is what is the agenda for today's session, focused on SNAP, SAT and IIFT. Before that, let me give you a brief introduction of myself. My name is Neelam Malkani. I possess around 12 years of experience of test preparation industry and have been training students of CAT, GRE, GMAT, IELTS and TOEFL. My areas of expertise have been English and verbal reasoning. I also set assessment papers of English and reasoning for different exams. This content development I did for government bodies as well as professional bodies of different states which are conducting exams. For a brief period of time, I also served as an examiner for an international organization. Recently, I have authored a comprehensive book of English for the preparation of competitive exams. The book is written in both Hindi and English, and it is available on Amazon. This video is brought to you by Unacademy. Now let me take you to its portal and tell you how you can start your preparation with this amazing platform. You have to go in your mobile phone in the Play Store and download Unacademy Learning app. After filling in all the details, you will be shown 3 major offerings: plus courses, free classes and special classes. Once you have this app in your mobile phone, you can start attending classes which are available under free courses and special classes. For that, you just have to type code Neelam to unlock these courses. After typing this code, you will be having access to all the courses, all the classes available under free courses and special classes. But if you want to go for specially designed courses which are catering to a specific course such as CAT, you have to enroll yourself for Plus. And for that, you will have to subscribe to the product. When you go for subscription, you will be shown different features that you will be benefiting from after subscription. Features such as 30 hours of live sessions every day. Now this feature allows you to attend classes as per your availability. So you can choose what time you would like to attend your classes. These classes are delivered by 40 plus top educators of India who have wealth of experience guiding, mentoring, educating students in their respective domains. These educators have extensive experience of test preparation industry. The courses which are delivered by these top educators are well structured, well designed by those people who have experience of module designing. These courses have the fine balance of concepts and testing so that you are well prepared for your exam finally. Every month you see a new course is launched by these educators to cater to the specific need of a specific exam. Right? SNAP, IIFT and SAT, these exams are on the corner. So you will see different courses catering to the components of these exams, such as decision making for SAT, critical reasoning for IIFT and SAT, and grammar for IIFT and SNAP. So specially designed course catering to the needs of a specific exam will be launched every month. So all these features under one subscription. When you go further and see different models of subscription, you can choose one of these as per your plan of the preparation of this exam. So if you have decided to take this exam this year and you're targeting exams happening in December or January, you can go for 1 month's subscription. With that, you will be able to access all the courses which are available in that month and all the crash courses which are targeting these exams. If you are planning for CAT 2021, you can go for yearly subscription, and for that you will have to pay 17,500 rupees. Whichever model of subscription you decide to go with, if you want further 10% discount, you have to type code Neelam. With that, you will be in a position to get 10% discount, or your fee is going to come down to 15,750 for 1 year. Alright, so what are you waiting for? Go download this app in your mobile phone, attend special classes, type the code Neelam. You will have access to these courses, special classes. If you are satisfied with the quality of classes that is delivered by these educators, you can further enroll yourself under this category. Alright, so that's all about an academy. Now let's start with today's session, that is vocabulary for SNAP, IIFT and SNAP. 3 prominent exams, though the session that we are having today will also help you in clearing other exams such as TIS, MICA and CMAT. But the questions I have taken up from these 3 exclusive exams only. Alright, now 3 objectives of this session today. Types of question, I am going to discuss the types of vocabulary based questions which have been asked in 2019 and 18 papers, right? So I have not taken the questions which appeared in 2016-17 because very likely you will be given question on the basis of the questions which appeared in these 2 years. So whenever an examiner is given the task to set a paper, they have a prototype which they usually follow. The prototype is usually the previous year paper. Previous year, 2 years paper is something that they consider, they model their paper on. So very likely these questions will be there, vocabulary based questions will be there. Discussion of words, with that I will also discuss some words which appear in options and which appear in the word list. We will also briefly discuss how you should prepare for vocabulary in this tiny period of time. You have only 1 month, 2 months in your hand to prepare for vocabulary now for these exams. So how you can focus your energy on vocabulary building and what sources you should be using further for vocabulary building. Alright, so that is what is the objective of today's session. Let's get started and first start our session with the types of vocabulary questions which appeared in 2018 and 19. Now first set of question that I have picked up from IIFT, though it appeared in SNAP and SNAP as well, analogy questions. So analogy is nothing but a set of words, a pair of words which is given to you, and the set of words will be exhibiting a specific relationship. So knowing the word meaning is also important here, but other than knowing the meaning, what really holds importance here is establishing the relationship between 2 words. Whether they are synonymous, they are antonymous, they are part and whole, they are different in connotations, one is positive, one is negative, right? How they are related, that's what you have to establish. So it actually calls for some reasoning as well as linguistic understanding. Language, because you need to understand what this word means, and reasoning, because you need to understand what relationship these 2 words have. Alright, now look at this word pair, savage and barbaric. Now savage, I hope all of you know what savage means. Savage is something which is brutal, insensitive, merciless, right? So in Hindi, if I would like to translate this word, savage is something which is merciless, right? Jisme daya nahi hai, barbar, right? So that's how savage can be translated into Hindi. So savage tribes, or Genghis Khan, the barbaric ruler of Mongolia, was a savage ruler, right? He was merciless when he attacked any country. He did not show any compunction, he did not show any mercy when he invaded those countries. Savage, barbaric. So barbaric, savage, both are synonymous. Both means cruel, brutal, and merciless. Now, the same relationship has to be exhibited by your answer pair as well, right? And for that, you need to know what these words mean. Lucid is something which is very clear. Something which is explained clearly is lucid, right? So lucid explanation or lucid style of writing. So lucid is something which is clear, whereas turbid is something which is muddy, something which is full of dirt, full of mud is turbid. So they are antonymous, so that's why they are overruled. Swallow is to gulp something. When you make something eatable or potable go down your throat, that is swallow. You swallow something. Reject. You reject something, that means you refuse something. So that's also antonymous, but not clearly antonymous, right? Puerile is kiddish. When you call something or somebody puerile, that means thing is not suitable for adults, right? So puerile. Senile is, when you grow old, you start to become senile. So that means you are very confused, right? You are not able to understand things very clearly. You are not able to comprehend what is happening around you. So that is senility. So puerile, and again, they are not antonymous. Venomous, virulent. So venomous is something which is dangerous. Basically something which is full of venom. Venom is zehar, right? So venomous is something which is zehreela, dangerous, extremely harmful. So is virulent. The virulent form of bacteria, that means something which is extremely harmful. Exactly synonymous words. And that is why D is your answer there, right? So savage, barbaric, synonymous, virulent, venomous, synonymous. Now for this kind of questions, not only do you need good vocabulary, authority on the word's meaning, but also understanding what relationship they share. All right, let's look at one more pair. Pertinacious and astute. Now, pertinacious is someone who is very determined to achieve something despite facing a lot of adversities or despite facing a lot of difficult circumstances. He's staunchly determined to achieve what he wants. Very positive word, pertinacious. Astute is someone who is extremely intelligent, sharp-minded, right? So, in a way, person who is pertinacious will have astuteness because he will have brilliance, he will have intelligence to achieve what he wants, right? So pertinacious, astute, one is almost synonym. The foible and weakness, demure and indecorous, chaffing and serious, grandiose and simple. Again, you need to know the meaning of all these words. So grandiose, let's start with D. Grandiose is something which is kind of show off. So grandiose style is big, showy, kind of flowery, right? So grandiose manner, that means the person gives too much importance to himself, right? Simple is modest, so they are opposite. Chaffing is when you make fun of someone in a very friendly manner. Chaff, right? So chaffing, serious. So making fun of someone in a very friendly way or teasing someone because you have a very close tie with that person. So serious will again be antonymous because you are making fun and serious is being sincere. Demure, when you call somebody demure, that person is basically very shy and a person who is very modest, right? So demure is a person who is shy, coy, not very confident about herself or himself, and same time a person who is very modest, right? Indecorous, decorous is appropriate. Indecorous is something which is embarrassing, not appropriate for the occasion. So out of all these words, you see foible and weakness. So something which is foible will have some or the other flaw, and that is why it will have weakness. So foible is something which is which has some weakness, which has some flaws. All right. So that is why answer is A, because that is synonymous. So pertinacious will be astute, a foible will have some weakness. All right. So that A is going to be the answer. So analogy, IIFT, one more question which appeared last year only. Dilate is to make something larger, right? So I dilated my pupil. I dilated my pupil, that means I extend. I made my pupil larger, dilate. Contract is just opposite. I constrict, that means I just constricted it, restricted it, right? So that way they are opposite. All right. So vaccine vein, the vaccine vein of life, the vaccine vein of share market, or the vaccine vein of moon. So the period where moon becomes larger is waxing. Waning is coming down, that is dissipating, that is diminishing. Diminishing in intensity, diminishing in size, wane. So vaccine vein of life, that is life ke utar chadav. Vaccine vein of share market, that is ups and downs. So vex and wane, opposite, clearly opposite words. Let's look at other words as well. Hawk and pawn. So when you hawk and pawn, both are verbs here, right? So when you hawk something, you basically give some valuable object or things to someone in order to get some money. So something which you put with a money lender against which you take some money, that action, that act of doing, taking money against some valuable objects is hawking. Same as hawk. They are synonyms, that is why answer is not B. Scribble is to write unintelligibly, the doodling that we do at the back bench of our classes. So scribbling, writing something unintelligibly. So write, scribble will also don't have the relationship of antonym. Contaminate is to impure something, contaminated water. Contaminate and spread, again, are not antonymous. So answer is going to be vex and vein, right? So vex is ऊपर होना, vein is कम होना. So vex and vein of light, vex and vein of moon. So there is sometime 15 days of a month, you see moon gets bigger, and another 15 days it becomes smaller. So vex and vein of moon, vex and vein of life, right? So he has been with me in the vex and vein of my success, or vex and vein of my career. So that way he has been with me in the thick and thin of my career. That means when I was doing good, he was there with me. When I was not doing so well, he was still there with me. So vex and vein, start using this phrase so that the word is not alien to you anymore. All right. So dilate is to extend or make something larger. Constrict, contract is to constrict, right? So constrict is to सिकुड़ना किसी चीज का. All right. Now one more. So you can see how many questions of analogy appeared in IIFT. 4 questions last year only. So such is the importance of this, because it tests your vocabulary as well as it tests your reasoning. All right. Now serene is something which is very calm and composed. Serenity. Agitated is when you are agitated, you are provoked. Just opposite of serene. So serene is you are tranquil, right? Or you are in control of your temperament. Serenity. When you meditate, you start to feel serenity in your organs, in your body, in your mind. Serenity. Shanti, placidity. Agitated, just opposite. When you are serene, you cannot be agitated. When you are agitated, you cannot be serene. So agitated is provoked. भड़के हुए हैं आप, किसी चीज़ पे आपको एकदम से गुस्सा है. You are stirred up. Your emotions are high, right? So opposite. Now reverberate, echo. So कुछ echo points होते हैं जब हम पचमढ़ी जाते हैं या अदर हिल स्टेशन जाते हैं. So हम जोर से आवाज़ लगाते हैं and the word comes back to us. So the words reverberate. Reverberate is to echo. That is to come back. हमें अपनी ही आवाज़ का reverberation सुनाई देता है. Fatigue, I hope all of you know fatigue factor. So fatigue factor is ailing Indian cricket team performance. So fatigue factor is thakawat. With fatigue only we have a word indefatigable. So indefatigable spirit of our soldiers, right? Or indefatigable is somebody who is tireless, right? Does not feel weariness, does not feel fatigue at all. Indefatigable spirit of our soldiers who are guarding our borders. Indefatigable. Fatigue is thakawat, indefatigable is tirelessness. Fatigue and weary will be synonymous, whereas the antonym relationship is there between serene and agitated. Odious, horrible, terrible, something which is despicable. बहुत ही घृणास्पद है. ऐसी कोई चीज़ है जो आप देखते ही नापसंद करते हैं. That is odious, right? So when you go to some places in your own city, you see filth. You don't see, you know, you see filth everywhere, garbage, rubbish everywhere. So that's an odious sight for you. You cannot stand that sight for a second. So odious. You see the treatment of prisoners in a prison, the kind of food they are given, the kind of place they are put up in. So you feel that the treatment is odious, pathetic, extremely terrible. Pleasant, very positive word. So they are exactly opposite. So odious is terrible, pleasant is something which is happy. So that way they are opposite. That is what you are looking for. Serene and agitated was opposite. Odious and pleasant is also opposite. Dethrone, depose. So both are synonym. So when you dethrone someone, that means you are removing somebody from an important position, especially the person who is in authority or he is in the position of charge, who is in the position of power. Recently, people of America dethroned Donald Trump. He was at the highest position of American executive. He was the president. He was heading entire country. He was dethroned by the people of America in a democratic process. Dethrone, depose, almost similar words, right? So answer is odious and pleasant. I hope with the discussion of these 4 questions, the meanings are also clear to you, because these are very high frequency words. They will keep on coming in your questions as well as some of the options, or maybe in your RC or paradigm questions. So if you are clear with the meaning, you will have greater clarity in understanding those questions. Now, SNAP 2018 analogy question also appeared there. Turmoil and confusion. All right. So turmoil and confusion. Turmoil is a state of great uncertainty and confusion. A situation where nobody understands what to do. Nobody has certainty what is going to happen. The perfect word for what happened in 2020. We lived in a turmoil. For the first half of this year, we all lived in a turmoil. We did not know what is going to happen next. We did not know what we are going to do next. Extreme state of confusion and state of uncertainty. Turmoil, confusion. So turmoil is a state which is marked or characterized by a great sense of confusion. Look at the words here now. So one is the state, second is the characteristic. Caustic, sarcastic. The caustic is bitter, sharp. When somebody has a caustic tongue, that means that person is extremely critical. And whatever he speaks in a very bitter way. So caustic tongue, caustic criticism, caustic way of speaking. Right? So I hope you have seen Karan Thakur's show. So Karan, Devil's Advocate, was a very famous show that he hosted earlier, and now he takes interview on a different channel. So he is known for his caustic language. So the kind of language he uses is not pleasant to hear. It's not something which soothes others, ear. Rather, it is something which agitates them, and that's what his modus operandi is, possibly to elicit responses from his interviewee. So a caustic tongue, a caustic language is something which is biting, which is sharp, and which is critical. Sarcastic is something. Sarcastic is, again, I hope you understand what sarcasm is, because it's also one of the tones which is sometimes displayed by the author while writing a passage. So sarcasm is, kind of comments, in which you mean something else, but you say something else, right? So somebody actually caused a lot of damage to you. You say that was a great help, right? So I'm being sarcastic here. That person actually caused a lot of damage to me. Because of that, I actually lost a lot of things. But I'm being sarcastic here and say, please don't help me. That was a great help. So here I'm being sarcastic, right? So you say something else. I actually want to say that please don't help me anymore because you actually did not help me. But instead of saying this, I would say it was a great help, right? So that is, I'm being sarcastic. So you mean something else, but you say in a different language. So that is being sarcasm. Sarcasm is always colored by criticism, right? But it's not always caustic, right? So not exactly the relationship that we are looking for. Metamorphosis is to come into different form, right? So metamorphosis, morph is for structure. So metamorphosis is when you transform from a state to a different state, right? So metamorphosis, you must have seen the life cycle of some animals. So there was a pupa and then there was another stage, life cycle. So they transform from pupa to AIDS, right? So that is what is metamorphosis, all right? So coming into different form altogether. It is also used in other contexts. Assassination is to kill an important person, especially a political figure. So assassination is murdering, killing an important figure. Like Indira Gandhi was assassinated in 1984, right? So assassination of Indian Prime Minister, this is Indira Gandhi in 1984. Chaos, so assassination is always murder, but murder of what kind, right? So that's still not clear. Chaos and disorder. So that's the exactly the synonymous pair that we are looking for. Turmoil is characterized by confusion. Chaos is characterized by disorder. When there is a chaotic situation anywhere, you see there is no order. There is no semblance of order there, right? So if a rally is going on, or if there is some people who are staging dharna and suddenly police come and they start water canning. So there is complete chaos. No order. People are running helter and skelter, right? And police is trying to control everything. So there is complete chaos. So chaos is marked by disorder as turmoil is marked by confusion. So this level of understanding of words is needed in order to do well in analogy. All right, assassination, murder, you would have marked this as your answer because anyway, this is also synonymous, but not exactly synonymous. Turmoil leads to confusion, chaos leads to disorder. That's how you have to establish a relationship to come to your right answer. Now, I hope we are clear with analogy. Now, one more analogy question and then we will move on to FIB questions. This appeared in 2019, ZAT. Which option does not reflect the relationship implicit in emendation and editor? So ZAT, as it is known for giving very difficult words and low frequency words, so emendation was given in analogy pair. Emendation is nothing but amend. I hope all of you know what amend means. So amendment is to change. Amendment of Constitution. 42nd Amendment of Indian Constitution, right? So amend is to change. Emend is also to change, especially what is written. You change something before printing in order to correct it, in order to rectify the mistakes, or in order to make it more appropriate, you change what is written. That is what is the job of an editor. So before getting an article published, the article goes to editor and editor tries to amend certain things which are not appropriate. All right. So amend is to edit. The emendation job is the editor's job. So that is what is the analogy. Now, what is the question here? It does not reflect the relationship. So one pair is not reflecting the relationship exhibited by this set of words. Now look at first option. Injunction is given by a judge. Yes, injunction is an order which is given by a judge, an order which explicitly states whether something is to be done or something is not to be done. So that is injunction. So recently Supreme Court gave the injunction to Delhi government that corona test should not be above 800 rupees, should not cost more than 800 rupees to a common man. So it was an injunction given by the court. So a court gives an order. A court, in the form of court, the judge only gives an order, right? Examination is done by a doctor. So he examines the body, he examines the report. On the basis of that only, a course of treatment is given. Discipline is enforced by a coach, right? A coach, whoever, whichever team he coaches, he will always try to enforce some kind of discipline in the team members. Illumination and renunciation. Now, one of these options is going to be your answer. Look at these two. He says renunciation by saint. Unless a person renounces his materialistic pleasure, his materialistic things, his worldly possessions, he cannot be called a saint. So renunciation is nothing but giving up. Giving up your pleasure, giving up your materialistic desires, or giving up your worldly ties is renunciation. So a saint is marked by renunciation. So that is why this is also not the answer. Illumination and usher is going to be your answer, because usher is somebody who takes you towards your seat in a hall or in a place where some performance is happening. Who takes you, who escorts you, who shows you the way. Now this is the way to reach your place in a hall. So illumination is showing light. So possibly this is not something which is done by usher. Alright, so that is why D is the answer. Does not reflect. You should have focused on this word. If analogy word pair is given and you assume you have to find out the same relationship, you could have got this answer. You could have marked this answer incorrect. Alright, so that always tricks you. So don't take that very lightly. Alright, so this was analogy. I hope I covered all the analogy questions so far, which appeared in these 3 years in SNAP, ZAT and IIFT. IIFT gave 4 questions of analogy and it has been giving consistently analogy questions. So has ZAT, right? So please brush up your word list, whichever word list you have been relying on, which you have been referring to for your vocabulary building, brush that up again and try to gather as many synonyms as you can in this period of time so that you are aware of all the synonyms and antonyms of the word list. Alright. Now let's start with FIB. Again, this is going to be a higher difficulty level question because this tests your comprehension as well as your vocabulary understanding. Because it is not any word which is appropriate. It is the word which is making the sentence complete. It is the word which is making the sense of the sentence complete, which is making it meaningful, is going to be required. Now, there may be a case where all the words given in the options may be synonymous. They are almost similar in their meaning, but there has to be a specific word which is fitting in the context of the sentence. That means you have to understand the contextual usage of word as well. Which word is fitting in this context and which word is not appropriate in a specific context. So, depth of understanding is needed in order to do well in FIB. FIB, filling the blanks. Alright, now let's start discussing these questions. FIB, IIFT 2019. Sunita's dash in athletics yielded rich dash. Now, if you know the collocations, now rich is collocated with some of the words here. Now, if you know rich, look at the second options. Rich money, possibly not, right? Rich dividends, yes, that's the collocation is. Rich appreciation, appreciation cannot be rich, right? So that's not the word which you go with appreciation. Lofty appreciation can be there, but not rich appreciation. Rich appointment, possibly not. See, with this understanding of collocation only, you can come to your answer very easily, despite not reading entire sentence. I did not read entire sentence. Just because of rich, I came to my answer. Because I know which word goes with rich. That is the power of collocation, the words which go together. Alright? So in FIB, collocations are going to help you immensely. Now, Sunita's excellence in athletics yielded rich dividends, and she got a scholarship. Rich dividends. All right. So answer is B. I hope you got the technique. Which word goes with rich? That gave me my answer for second option, and with that I chose B as my answer. IIFT, one more question. In dash of international matters, there is always an element of risk in dash one might do. Look at second options only. In whatever one might do, in whatever one might do, so one first and second both are same. In doing whatever one might do, so that's eliminated. In doing what one might do, so does not feel appropriate, is not actually appropriate. In whichever one might do, so whichever option you choose is fine, but whichever one might do is not appropriate. So two options are eliminated, that is C and D. A and B. Now, in case of international matters, in spite of international matters. I hope the answer is also clear to you. In case of international matters, there is always an element of risk in whatever one might do. Alright, so with that, I hope we are clear what should be the answer. Now, as I told you, XAT is known for very tough questions. Now, XAT started giving you 3 blanks and 4 blanks in FIB questions, right? So there are 3 blanks and there are 5 options. 3 blanks, that means 3 words. 4 blanks means 4 words. So that way, you have to understand the sentence very, very clearly, the paragraph very, very clearly. Then only you will be able to fill in the correct words. Now this requires you to understand the word meaning of at least 4 to 5 words, right? Then only you will be able to eliminate the option and come to your right answer. So this actually calls for great authority on vocabulary and crystal clarity about their meanings. A map is a useful metaphor for our brain when talking about dash, because at its most basic level, our brain is to be our atlas of sorts. So please understand this sentence. Our brain is being compared with a map. A map is there to give direction. Our brain is to give us directions. So let's try to understand what words can be filled in first and second. A map is a useful metaphor for our brain when talking about perception, understanding, connections, design and comprehension. Now let's understand that we are talking about brain here, right? When we are talking about design, will be eliminated. A useful metaphor for our brain because brain is used to understand things. Understanding, comprehension and perception will be considered here, right? So connections and design possibly can be eliminated. So C and D can be eliminated. Because at its most basic level, our brain dash to be our atlas of sorts. So एक तरह से हमारा brain हमारे लिए atlas है, हमारा brain हमारे लिए एक map है, which is giving us direction what to do or where to lead. Second option, evolved, progressed or metamorphosed. So we understood the meaning of metamorphose. Has it changed? Has it come to a different form? Has it progressed or has it evolved? The progressed, that means it was earlier not, trained to do this or designed to do this. It has progressed further to do it. So we are not told anything of this kind, right? Let's hold A and B. It has the brain, level our brain evolved or level our brain progressed to be our atlas of sorts, a system of roots designed or shaped to navigate us towards just one destination, staying alive. So here the brain is designed to direct us towards one single goal, that we have to stay alive. So that is what makes A your answer. It is not shaped, it hasn't changed its form, rather it has been designed to give us direction towards one single goal, that is staying alive. Alright, So it has evolved and perception. All these words are fitting in the context. Answer is A. So if you miss out the meanings of the paragraph or the sense of the paragraph, you may not be able to fill in the correct words. But believe me, these words, there isn't any of these words which you don't know the meaning of. All are simple words, right? But they are very close. Comprehension, understanding, perception, very close. That means you have to have crystal clarity about the context as well as about the tone of the author, what he actually wants to say and how he wants to put it. That way, you will have more clarity about what words are more fitting in the context. Alright? So for that FIB questions, you have to apply your reading comprehension as well. One more question of this kind. Medicine has been operated by trial and error. In other words, now look at this important phrase. In other words, that means trial and error is going to be redefined, is going to be explained further, right? Now, which of these words is fitting in the second blank, which is going to define trial and error? The way trial and error is done. Randomly, analytically can be eliminated because something which is done with trial and error cannot be done analytically. Statistically, again eliminated. Logically, again eliminated. Arbitrarily. So A and E should be considered now because randomly is trial and error. Arbitrarily is also something which is unreasonable, not based on a reason. So that's all two options. Formerly, medicine has been operated by trial and error. In other words, randomly or arbitrarily. Historically or formally. Now, if there had been formally, that means आगे जो next sentence है वो बोलेगा अब तरीका बदल गया है. Let's read it. We know by now that there can be entirely dash connections between symptoms and treatment, and some medications succeed in medical traits for mere random reason. So ये sentence हमें नहीं बता रहा है कि formerly ऐसा होता था और अब ऐसा होता है. That is why formally is not the answer, historically is the answer. Historically, medicine has been operated by trial and error, in other words, arbitrarily. We know by now that there can be entirely fortuitous. Fortuitous is something by luck, happens by chance, by luck, but something which culminates into good results is fortuitous. So, entirely fortuitous connections between symptoms and treatment, and some medications succeed in medical traits for mere random reasons. So that's how the entire paragraph is meaningful and complete. Alright? So a bit of logic will also be applied in FIB. You may not know the meaning of all the words, but trial and error. Trial and error is not analytical, is not statistical, it's not logical. It has to be random, it has to be arbitrary. With that, I eliminated three options, and formally and historically, I came to my answer despite not knowing the meaning, despite not knowing the meaning of the word fortuitous. Alright? So please be wary of these links, these important links that are given. Now, a very important piece of information to give you. I'm going to take a special class based on FIB, the orientation to FIB, filling the blanks, what are the techniques which you can employ to solve FIB questions, and some questions which appeared in previous year papers, right? So that session is going to happen tomorrow at 9 a.m. on Unacademy platform, right? So 9 a.m. is going to be special class. If you type the code Neelam, you will have access to that class. You don't have to pay anything for that. You just have to download the Unacademy app. Alright, so let's go ahead. Now, this is a very important question which appeared in last year IIFT. Very different kind of question, which has been kind of quintessential quality of IIFT, which has been giving match the column and kind of which we fill in the newspaper, what we call that, right? Where we are given a table We are given the hints, clues, and on the basis of that, we have to fill the words on the table. So that was given by IIFT last year. Quite a difficult and challenging set of questions. Nonetheless, those of you who did have authority on vocabulary could solve this question, because on this table only there were as many as 5 questions. Alright, now look at this table. Couple of words are given. All these words are high frequency words. You will find these words in some or other way in your exams. So I would advise that you be through with the meaning of these words and the synonyms of these words, right? Very quickly, I'll discuss these words briefly. So boisterous is noisy. When you see a group of boisterous boys, that means they are making a lot of noise. They are loud, they are rambunctious, or they are making a lot of noise, right? So boisterous. So a boisterous teenagers, a boisterous group of teenagers who are having their party, right? So boisterous. Sardonic is someone who is condescending, who ridicules others, a person who believes others are beneath him, जो खुद को लेके उसको बहुत superiority complex होता है, right? So that is what is sardonic. So a person who feels that he is above and others are beneath him. Condescending, a person who is always looking down upon someone, right? So that is sardonic. If somebody has a sardonic smile, you will always understand that the person is thinking that he is always better than others. Lachrymose, your eyes have lacrimal glands, right? So हम सबकी आंखों में lacrimal glands होती हैं, which are responsible for tearing. उन्हीं glands की वजह से हमारे आंसू बहते हैं. So lachrymose, when you call somebody lachrymose, that person is extremely emotional and sentimental, right? So quickly that person starts crying. So lachrymose farewell. He was given a lachrymose farewell. That means all people who were giving him farewell became very emotional and sentimental and were crying at his farewell, right? So lachrymose, it was a lachrymose performance. It made everyone cry. So lacrimal glands, lachrymose. Peccadillo is small sin, blunder, a social blunder, small sin which can be forgiven. So peccadillo, right? Quixotic is opposite of pragmatic. So pragmatic is practical, realistic. Quixotic is unrealistic. So remember these two words: pragmatic, practical; quixotic, unrealistic, too idealistic. That is quixotic. Imagining or expecting that demonetization is going to root out the corruption from India is very quixotic, right? So, you know, one way, with one single step, you are going to remove the corruption from India. That is too quixotic to believe. Quixotic, unrealistic, too idealistic to be true. Far-fetched is quixotic. Opposite, pragmatic. Okay, the word is troglodyte, right? So troglodyte is a person who lived in caves. A person who in ancient times or primitive times lived in caves is troglodyte, right? Very typical word. I don't know why IIFT gave this word. Lugubrious is same as lachrymose. So lugubrious, lachrymose, both are same, synonymous, right? High frequency words. Both are high frequency word in a kind of a academic article or this kind of scholastic test, you will find these words. Evanescent is something which is short-lived. Beauty is evanescent, right? Youth is evanescent. So something which is short-lived. It's not going to live for a long time. It's not going to stay for a long time. So वो कुछ बुलबुले होते हैं, कुछ ही समय के लिए रहते हैं, right? So that is evanescence, right? So fragrance is evanescent. So fragrance does not stay for a long time. It doesn't linger for a long time. It stays there for some time and then it goes away. It evaporates. Evanescent, short-lived, right? Our existence on this earth is evanescent. It's something which is not ephemeral. It's not long-lived. Rather, it's for a very short period of time. All right? Evanescent is same as ephemeral, right? Ephemeral is same as fleeting. So fleeting, evanescent, ephemeral, all are same. All means something which is short-lived. Fleeting memory. Amitabh Bachchan had a fleeting career in politics. For a very brief period of time, he was there in politics. He contested the election from Allahabad, right? So he was a member of parliament, Lok Sabha. So he had a fleeting career in politics, fleeting memory. So short-lived. Evanescent, ephemeral, fleeting, all mean short-lived. Tendentious. Okay, so tendentious is anything which is very controversial, right? So this farmer bill has become very tendentious issue. A lot of people are against implementation of this bill, and a great number of people are favoring the provisions of this bill. So it has become quite a tendentious issue because it has polarized people into two different groups. All right, so tendentious issue. There are authors who time and again cover tendentious issue in their articles or in their books, right? So tendentious issue, and they become tendentious author, they become tendentious people, right? So tendentious is anything which is disputed, controversial, and which gives rise to controversy. Scrupulous. Scrupulous is someone who is meticulous. It has two meanings basically, right? Scrupulous is someone who is very meticulous, who does something very very carefully. बहुत ध्यान से, बहुत detail से, बहुत painstakingly वो काम करता है. That is scrupulous, right? Scrupulously making your annual report, scrupulously auditing the company, very meticulously, very clearly, right? The opposite is unscrupulous. Unscrupulous is someone who is careless. Scrupulous, another meaning, is somebody who is principled, morally correct, a person who is righteous, always behave in a very correct way, is scrupulous. Unscrupulous is dishonest. Alright? So, two words, scrupulous, unscrupulous. Loquacious, this word has been taken from Norman Lewis. You will see a lot of words are actually taken from Norman Lewis here, right? So in coming slide, I'm going to talk about the sources to base your vocabulary preparation on. Norman Lewis is going to be one of the sources. Evanescent is taken from that, scrupulous is taken from that, loquacious is also taken from that. Loquacious, talkative person, a person who talks a lot, right? A person who loves to be chatty, right? So that is what is loquacious. Proselytize is to brainwash someone. Basically, it is done in religious practices. So if somebody believes in a specific religion, he is brainwashed and then he's converted into different religion. That is proselytize. Proselytizers. So there are people who are evangelical or evangelist who proselytize the people of other faith and they convert these people into their own religion. So they are given this kind of dictate by their rulers or by the authorities in their own country that they have to proselytize people of different faith. Proselytize basically to brainwash someone, to start believing in different ideology or start believing in different kind of religion. Alright, so proselytize. Unctuous is when you praise somebody a lot. Basically, unctuous is oily, right? So the basic word is unctuous. So unctuous is oily. So anything which has a lot of oil is unctuous. Unction is massage, right? So unction is massage. Massage is always done by oil. So unction is massage. Unctuous is something which is oily. With that only this word is coming for being sycophant, being toady to someone. You're praising somebody to the skies. You're praising somebody too high. Especially your admiration is not sincere. Your admiration is not sincere, right? So that way, unctuous praise is the praise which is not really sincere. You're praising because you have some ulterior motive or you have some X to grind. That is why you are praising that person. So unctuous is being servile, being toady to someone, right? That is unctuous. Blandishment is another word. किसी की बहुत ज़्यादा तारीफ करना ताकि आप उससे कुछ फ़ायदा उठा सकें. Especially वो तारीफ जो आप actually admiration की वजह से नहीं कर रहे हैं, सिर्फ इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि आप कुछ पाना चाह रहे हैं. So एक तरह से चमचागिरी करना, मक्खन लगाना, right? As I said, unction is oily, unctuous will be something which is insincere praise. Vociferous, जोर जोर से चिल्लाना. One more word which is from Norman Lewis, right? So vociferate. So all the words which are for speaking are given in Norman Lewis. You will find loquacious there, vociferous there. So vociferous is chilla chilla ke bolna, speaking in a very clamorous way, right? So there are some anchors on different news shows who vociferate when they telecast news, or when they uh, forecast news. They vociferate. They increase the decibel sound of their voice, and with that only they anchor their shows. So vociferate. Vociferous is an adjective. Vociferate is verb, right? So vociferously, he speaks vociferously. When he participates in a GD, he puts his point vociferously, right? So that way he speaks in a very loud and clamorous way. Obdurate is extremely determined, right? So when you are obstinate, you're obdurate, right? So that way, it's not a very, it's something which is characterized by being very firm and rigid on your position. That is what is obdurate, right? So obdurate is when you are not wavering on your position, right? That is what is obdurate. Just opposite is vicissitudes. So vicissitudes is utar chadav. So obdurate is staunchly, rigidly taking a position. Vicissitudes is utar chadav. Vicissitudes of life, vicissitudes of share market. Remember one phrase that we did, vex and vain, vicissitudes is also same. So vicissitudes of life. Iconoclast is someone who is pioneer, who is against traditions, who is against customs, a person who starts something new, and a person who is against dogma of the society is iconoclast, right? Icon yani murti, usko todne wala, ancient times में was called iconoclast. Those people who were against idol worship were iconoclast. Gradually, this word signifies any person who goes against cherished norms of the society. So I give you example of Raja Ram Mohan Rai. When sati practice was so established, was so deep rooted in India, he went against that custom. He was an iconoclast. Ishwar Vidyasagar, the man who went against widow, who actually pioneered the idea of widow remarriage, right? So it was a very pioneering idea in that point of time in India, right? So when we were so superstitious and society was so orthodox, it was kind of very brave to say something related to widow remarriage. But the man was iconoclast. He went against this belief that widows should be destined to live in a miserable condition. Rather, they should also have the right to remarry, right? So that way he was an iconoclast. Any person who has something innovative, something inventive to do in his own field can be iconoclast. Avaricious, avarice is lalach, greed. So avaricious is a person who is extremely greedy, right? So avarice is greed, avaricious is adjective for greedy person. Caprice is fickle, right? He's known for his caprice. That means he can do anything. He's not very predictable. Capricious is also something or someone who is very unpredictable. So weather in Mumbai is very capricious. You cannot rely on the weather. Anytime it rains, anytime there is a sun. So capricious weather. So fickle. She is very capricious. That means she is fickle-minded. You cannot really predict what she feels like, how she behaves, and what she does next. So very capricious. Obsequious is in a way synonymous with anxious. So anxious is praising very high because you want to gain something, you want to take advantage of that person. Obsequious is to follow someone, right? So spinelessly following someone because you want to gain some favor from that person, right? Obsequious comes from the root follow. This word is also in Norman Lewis, right? Avaricious, capricious, iconoclast, obsequious. So see, a couple of these words are coming from Norman Lewis only. So the book, which has been a strong source, a very authentic source of vocabulary building, is also referred to by examiners of these exams, right? So you better base your preparation on normal Lewis. In the coming slide, I'm going to talk about that as well. I hope we are clear with the meanings of these words. Now, this is how the question was given. Use the table for answering the following questions. Complete the crossword. Yes, the crosswords using words from the above table. There are more than words. There are more words than required. Now, across, producing tears. So we did two words, lachrymose, lugubrious. Both words for producing tears. Across, mocking. So when you try to ridicule someone, mock someone, that was sardonic, right? Down, unpredictable. Unpredictable, the word was capricious. Resembling a caveman, right? I don't really remember. So troglodyte, right? So this is the word which came for this. Now another set of word or set of question which was given by IIFT, and for this word again you had to be clear with the meaning of at least 2 to 3 words, then only you could match the column, right? Now the word which is the first word is schism, right? Schism is basically a divide between two groups, right? So schism basically happens when there is strong disagreement on an issue between two groups of a religion or two groups of an organization, two groups of a party, right? So we all know that Congress was founded in 1885. In 1907, there were two parts of Congress. The Congress divided between moderates and extremists. So जिसको हम गरम दल बोलते हैं, नरम दल बोलते हैं, right? So that's how we call the division of Congress. We characterize the division of Congress. So it happened because there was a schism between the members of Congress, right? So schism is basically for the division because there is strong disagreement. There is the polarized opinion, and that is why people cannot work unitedly. People cannot work unanimously. That's why there is a schism. Now, torsion is basically to twist someone's arm, twist something, especially when one part of that thing is fixed and another part is moving. So that moving part is twisted. So that is what is torsion. Okay, so zephyr is used for soft, gentle wind, right? So zephyr is that. Time and again, this word has come. So you be clear with the meaning of this word. Zephyr is a soft, gentle wind. Thandi thandi hawa jo chalti hai, that is zephyr. Palliative care. So you might have seen this word coming in hospitals or medical brochure. So palliative is basically something which is to soothe someone, to calm someone, किसी को आराम दिलाना, किसी को soothe करना, किसी की दर्द तकलीफ को कम करना, right? So palliative or mollify is another word for when you try to mollify someone. That means the person is in pain, the person is angry, or the person is upset. You are trying to do something to mollify his anger, to mollify his pain, right? So mollify is to mitigate someone's suffering. So zephyr. Intrepid is someone who is fearless. So again, one more word coming from normal Lewis, palliative, intrepid. Both these words are in normal Lewis, right? So you had to match the column. So when you match these words with the meanings that I suggested, the answer is B. Now for this set of questions, it's very time taking, right? Because for these two questions, remember, you need to know the meaning of two words, but for these questions, you need to know the meaning of multiple words. Then only you will be able to come up the right answer. So you better be very clear whether you want to attempt these kinds of questions or not, because they are very time taking. Alright? So unless you have good authority on these words and unless you are very confident about your vocabulary, I would advise you leave these questions. Now last year, 2019, foreign phrase was also picked up by IIFT, and IIFT for 2 to 3 years has picked up foreign phrases. Those words which are from French, which are from Latin, which are from German, but have gained currency in English, and they are very frequently used in English, in conversations as well as in writing discourses. So foreign phrases, last year it was anti-meridian, so which we abbreviate as AM, right? So what is the actual meaning of this word? That was asked. So AM and PM, I hope you know. So anti-meridian is before midday, and post-meridian is post-midday, after midday, right? So with that, you can come to the meaning of this word, AM. Instead of asking AM, it's a Latin word, right? Instead of saying AM, it confused students by giving the full form. We all know AM, what AM is, but it gave anti-meridian. So some of you who would know the meaning of AM or would know the full form of AM would easily come to the answer. Answer is A, between midnight and noon. That time is AM. The PM is post midday. Alright? Fine. So foreign phrases, some French words like carte blanche, coup d'etat, and raison d'etre. These words, rendezvous, these words which time and again have been asked in different exams. Some German phrases or German words rather, and Spanish phrases. So couple of Latin, Greek, French, and German phrases. These are the 4 languages which have been extensively covered by these competitive exams. If you want to focus, you focus on Latin, Greek, and French phrases only. Alright? In 2018, SNAP, odd sentence out. Right? So filling the blank, analogies, odd sentence out. Odd sentence out, 4 words or 3 words are in a way related to each other. 1 word is out of context. That is what is your answer. Bemuse, reuse, bewilder, confuse. So bemuse and bewilder both are exactly synonymous. When you are bemused, you don't know what to do next. You are bamboozled, you are confused. You are in a way puzzled as to what to do. So bemuse, bewilder, confuse, all are same, synonymous. Reuse is out of context. Hence, that is what is your answer. Right? So easy to do question. Snap, one more. Epicurean, gourmet, gastronomist. I told you so many questions from IIFT were from normal Lewis. Now these 3 words are also there in normal Lewis. Epicure, gourmet, gastronomist. All 3 words are there in normal Lewis. Epicurean or epicure is a person who knows a lot about food and drink. A person who has expertise of food and drink, who knows the ingredients, who knows the quality, who knows what makes a good dish. So epicure. Same as connoisseur. Gourmet is also same person, but a person who is very fond of living high luxurious life, and a person who is extremely fond of having good food, rich food, gourmet. Gastronomist is again a person who knows a lot about food and culinary art. 3 words are related. Hideous is something which is repulsive. Remember the word odious, right? So odious is same as hideous, something which is repulsive, disgusting, horrible. So that is what is your answer. One more question. Okay, now this is an synonym. So SNAP is going to give you very easy questions. The words may be unfamiliar, but the questions are easy to do. You don't have to read much. You don't have to do a lot of brainstorming to come up with your answer. If you know the word meaning, you can come to your answer. If you don't know, you can easily skip. But for IIFT and SNAP, they are going to entangle you in their questions. Choose a synonym of usurp. So usurp is to confiscate. Usurp is to take possession of something, right? So किसी चीज को हथिया लेना, किसी चीज को अपने कब्जे में ले लेना is usurp. Abdicate is not synonym. Abdicate, I hope you understand. Abdicate means is to renounce. किसी चीज को give up कर देना, abandon कर देना. Abdicate your throne, abdicate your desires, abdicate your title. So आप उसको छोड़ देते हैं. Capitulate is to सर झुकाना, surrender करना. You cap is your head, right? Decapitate is to behead someone. Decapitated bodies of Indian soldiers. So decapitated means they were beheaded. Cap is your head, right? This is one more word. So capitulate is to surrender. So Pakistani forces capitulated before Indian forces in 1971. They capitulated, that means they surrendered, right? So capitulate, decapitate, recapitulate. Yeah, another word with that root is recapitulate. Recapitulate the passage, that means you summarize the passage. Recapitulate entire session, that means summarize the session. So 3 words with this root. Cap is your head. So capitulate is to surrender, to bow your head before someone. Recapitulate is to cover the head, that means the main part of something. So you recapitulate the book, that means you give the summary of the book, that is main part is your head. And another word is decapitate, that is to behead, right? So capitulate is not assert, adjudge is the verb form of judge, encroach is the correct synonym of assert. So encroach is also किसी चीज को हथिया लेना, encroachment हो जाता है जमीनों पे or roads पे. So encroachment means the part which does not belong to you, you have your establishment on that. So that is what is encroachment. Alright, so assert will be synonymous with encroachment. One more question based on synonym, flagrant. Now, flagrant is used when you do something wrong in an unashamed way. Brazenly, you do something wrong without any disregard for power, without any disregard for rules. Disregarding rules, disregarding power, disregarding the people who are watching you. Flagrantly, he flouted the traffic rules. Flagrantly, he defied the principal's order. Flagrantly, openly, right? So synonym is not meek. Meek is somebody who is very shy, sweet smelling. So the examiner tried to confuse you with fragrance. So it's not fragrance, it is flagrant. So sweet smelling is not the answer. Blatant is the answer here. Blatant, brazen, flagrant, all are same. So brazenly, when you do something, you don't have regards for people around you. You don't have regards for rule. You just brazenly do something wrong in an open way. Flagship is also not the answer, right? So blatant, flagrant, and brazen all are synonym. I hope you are clear with the meaning as well. Now, this is antonym, right? Ostentatious was the word, and you had to choose the antonym of this word, opposite of this word. Modest is very clear. Ostentatious, unless you know the meaning. Ostentatious is someone who is very showy. Ostentatious behavior. That means a person who flaunts what he has. Ostentatious behavior, right? So when you see Bappi Lahari, so he wears a lot of gold chains, gold rings, and whatever wealth he has, he tries to showcase that. That's what I believe, right? So it may be just a sentence. He may be used here just an example to explain what ostentatious means. So his mannerism is very ostentatious. He shows that how much gold he possesses, right? He's not very modest. So opposite is modest. Modest is when you are very grounded, when you do not actually show off what you have, what you possess, or what you are, right? Rather, you are very grounded and you are very modest, right? You're rooted in your roots. Ostentatious will be opposite of modest. Pretentious is synonymous. Flamboyant, showy, colorful, vibrant. Obtrusive is also noticeable in a very unwanted way, right? So that's also in a way synonym. Antonym is modest. All right. Now one more question, last, that is antonym ZAG 2019. Now the word was boldface, and you had to choose the antonym of that word. It's conventional wisdom that procreation between first cousins is unhealthy. But what are the actual genetic risks? This was the sentence. Conventional was boldface. You had to choose the word which is antonymous with conventional. Now that, as I told you, is definitely going to trick you. It's definitely going to challenge you. It's not going to be as easy as it was there in the SNAP. Look at the options. Relative, abstract, unfounded, hard, tangible. Now what is a conventional? The convention is something which is based on some convention. Something which has some basis, which has some ground, which has some reason to justify. Convention. Now here the opposite is unfounded. Unfounded logic, something which is baseless. Unfounded argument, something which does not have a ground. Right? So here answer is going to be unfounded. So unless you apply the contextual usage of the word conventional here, you may not be able to come up with the antonym, because conventional will be something which is based on convention. So you would see something which is progressive, something which is modern as the antonym. But that's not the antonym here. The antonym is going to be found out is to be figured out on the basis of the usage of the word here. The conventional wisdom is something which is based on convention. Something which does not have any basis is going to be antony, that is unfounded. Now, the very important part, how to prepare for vocabulary. As I have been giving you the examples of Norman Lewis, please start using that book extensively, right? So, for no reason, this book has been into language preparation, especially for vocabulary preparation for ages, right? And for no reason, this book is actually preferred by academicians, examiners, and learners, right? So please start using this book. One benefit of this book is based on etymology, that is root technique, very effective way to learn words. With one technique, you will learn as many as 6 to 7 words on one single root. If you know the root, you can easily figure out the meanings of those words. Second, this book gives you ample exercises to practice. It's one way, it's one thing to remember the meaning of the words. It's another thing to come up with the usage of that word or meaning of that word in an exercise. Ultimately, you have to apply the meaning in the exercises. So, giving you exercises based on each chapter will give you sufficient practice to consolidate your vocabulary building, right? So these are two benefits, etymology. Second, enough practice. If you are done with Norman Lewis, most of you may be in the position to remember all the words of Norman Lewis or major proportion of the words of Norman Lewis, then you can move on to Wilfred Funk, the book which is preferred by GRE aspirants, right? So Wilfred Funk, high frequency words. The benefit of this book will be, again, practice. Enough exercises followed by each chapter. And after certain chapters, you are also tested. Test 1, test 2. So that way you will put your concepts into practice. Alright? So that is also will also prepare you for the exam well, because ultimately you will have to find antonym, synonym, and meaning of the words, as well as fill the words in the blanks. Right? So that is going to prepare you for your exam. Now, if you do not want to invest your energy and time on reading books, though I would highly recommend these two books, nonetheless, if you do not have that mindset to go for books for this month, because exam is in December and then next exam IIFT is going to be January, what you can do is GMAT, the official website or the official agency which is conducting INMAT, has given an official book. In that, it has given high frequency word list. It has as many as 1500 words. Now that is minimum that you can do. But again, with that word list, you won't have exercises, only word and their meanings are given. Right? So if you can go through that list, remember the words, and then you can do some homework of gathering synonyms, antonyms, and their meaning and usage. Then your challenge is going to be compounded, right? So, but if you can commit to that kind of work, you can definitely go to this word list given by INMAT. All right. So these are 3 resources that you can use for vocabulary building. Ultimately, vocabulary has to be built with practice, has to be built by ample exercises and quizzes. Now solve previous year papers. So I gave you the questions of vocabulary from 2018 and 19, these 2 years only. What you have to do is solve all the papers which are available to you of these exams. SNAP papers, except 2019, I guess all the papers are available readily on internet. Download those papers, commit yourself to those papers in a test form and see what your accuracy is. When you analyze after taking the mock, then you take the words, take down the meaning of words, note them down in a book, revise that notebook every day, so that the word meaning that you have written, you remember them. 10 FIB questions from GRE previous year papers every day. FIB, as you saw, ZAT, IIFT and SNAP, and in TIS as well. You will see FIB questions, and FIB questions is very challenging. Now, GRE always has questions on FIB, filling the blank, 2 blanks, 3 blanks question as well. And it has been an authentic resource for the practice of FIB. So previous year papers of GRE are also available in the form of Big Book. So you download Big Book, it has as many as 34 papers. Each paper will have 14 questions of FIB. You solve 10 questions every day. Without fail, you solve those 10 questions every day. And when you solve 10 questions, you note down the meaning of the words which appear in the options. Alright? With that, you will have enough words to revise. And after revising these words, you will see that after 10 days, when you start solving those 10 questions, your difficulty level, you will see that you are facing much ease at solving those questions, because you have been building your vocabulary by taking down the meaning in that notebook, and you are revising that notebook again before doing those 10 questions. So 10 questions every day, and noting down the meaning of the options as well as the words that you are unfamiliar with. That is going to give you enough reservoir of words to bank your preparation on. So you are building your own dictionary, you are building your own word list which is appearing in different exams. Last, revise that every day while doing those 10 questions, right? So that's the important tip that I wanted to give you. So GRE questions for FIB, that's a very incredible resource you have that you can use extensively for your practice of FIB. FIB, 10 questions. Take down the meaning of those words which you are unfamiliar with. Note down their meanings from the dictionary. Next day, when you do 10 questions again, revise these words. Right? After 10 days, you will see drastic difference in your performance. Do it for next 10 days and tell me how benefited you are now. Alright? So that's how I come to the end of today's session. I hope I gave you crystal clarity about the vocabulary based questions of different exams, especially XAT, IIFT and SNAP. There are other varieties of questions as well, like confusing words, which I did not cover because they did not appear in 2018 and 19, but that does not mean they may not appear this year, right? But confusing words, similar sounding words, homophones or homonyms, right? So these words which often confuse users because their spelling is different but their pronunciation is same, or their spelling is same but their meaning may be different, right? So be clear with the list of confusing word as well. I'm going to cover one entire session dedicated to confusing words, right? So stay tuned to this channel. I give you information about one of the sessions that I'm going to take tomorrow 9 a.m. on Unacademy platform, that is FIB. So different approaches to solve FIB questions and what techniques you can employ to solve FIB questions will be discussed in that session, right? So thank you very much for watching the session and staying with me, and keep watching this channel for such more sessions for the preparation of XAT, IIFT and SNAP, and do let me know your thoughts and opinion about today's session as well as about the topics that you want me to cover in coming sessions for these exams preparation. If there is any specific topic that you want me to cover, do let me know through comments or through the class interaction that we have in Plus and special classes. I'd be more than happy to cover that topic for you. Thank you very much.